Welcome to class. In today's training, you'll be learning how to make this maxi size tote bag. Alright, so the next step is to show you the materials that we'll be using in this tutorial. So I'm going to start by showing you the materials. Obviously, you need your tape roll, scissors, you need your zip cloth, and then zip teeth. This is the zip teeth. This is a zip cloth. You're going to be needing at least about 25 to 27 inches of the zip cloth. You're going to need 2 D-rings. And you're going to need two hooks. You're going to need 2 hooks, right? This is a piece of lining for the bag. So now this lining is different from the normal tailor lining. This is called a bag lining. So there are linings you use for bags. So this is thick, okay? Then of course you're going to need a very beautiful fabric for your tote bag, and I already cut out the piece needed for this bag, right? I'll be showing you the measurements later on. Next, you'll be needing tappeta, right? This is tappeta. In our previous videos, I've introduced tappeta so many times, but introducing it once again, this is how tappeta looks like. Okay, so it has a dull face and it has a very sharp face. It is black. This color is black. You can use any color because it's not showing, right? But I recommend black. So this is what tappeta looks like. We will now be cutting the exact measurements of the fabric on the tappeta, right? So the next step is to measure the piece of fabric we'll be using for the bag, and then the tappeta, and then the lining. So this piece of fabric, I already cut it out to be the exact measurements we need. So this is, the length is 18 inches folded in 2, so that is 36 inches for the full length, 36 inches. And then for the breadth or the width, you have 24 inches. For the width, you have 24 inches. Okay, so now this exact measurement is what you're going to cut out on your tappeta, right? So this is what it looks like, right? And then you cut your piece of lining to be a little bit bigger than both of them, maybe 1 inch additional round for the length and breadth, to give it ample space to spread when we are sewing. So we're going to be needing a few more materials, but I'll be showing you as we go along. All right, the next step now is to iron your piece of fabric to gum stay. Now this is the normal tailor gum stay, but this is the hard one. Okay, so you're going to iron it to the fabric, the wrong side, of course. The wrong side should be ironed to the gum stay, so it's the face of the fabric, the actual front that will be facing us. Okay, then for the straps, you can use belt, for the handle of the bag. You can decide to use a belt like this, or fabric, Ankara, right? So we'll be using Ankara in this video so that everything matches up. Okay, now for the straps, you're going to be cutting 4 inches for the straps, right? 4 inches by 31 inches for the handle of the bag that you carry it with, like this. Okay, so when you cut this, you're going to cut 4 pieces of this, 4 by 31 inches, 4 pieces of this, then iron to the gum stay. When you iron it to the gum stay, then you now fold each of them like this. All right, so I'm just going to show you. I'm going to go ahead and do that now, then bring them to you. So here you have the ironed body, and then 4 of this, and see the way it is ironed. Okay, right? So now the next step is to sew it on top of each other like this, and sew a straight line on both sides, right, to form 2 straps. So let's do that now. Then the next thing we're going to do is to sew the tappeta to the main body. Let's get sewing. Yes, I put close it and more for sure. Then you turn it to the other side. So I'm just going to knit the edges, and then these will be the 2 straps for the bag. So the width of this depends on the measurement you gave earlier. So if you feel like this is too wide, because then you can sew it down like this, can mark the middle and sew these parts together so that the customer can be able to hold the bag. So those are like different styles of handles. Or you can reduce the 4 inches to about maybe 3 inches before you now fold it, so that way this space will be smaller and straight. Depends on whatever you want, because as a designer you need to be able to make multiple things for different customers. Next thing we're going to do is to attach the tappeta to the fabric. Okay. Yeah. So when I was cutting, I realized that I cut the exact shape I want on the Ankara instead of on the tappeta, right? So the exact shape I'm following is this Ankara. So when you want to do yours, you can measure this exact measurement you want on your tappeta, then cut extra Ankara, then follow it. But either way, you are still good to go. I don't know if that makes any sense to you. If that makes, or if you're understanding, if you understand what I mean. So I'm going to trim out the excess gum stay so that we can have the exact shape of our bag looking at us. So I'm just going to, so I'm still going to trim later, but I need to see the tappeta underneath to make sure that I'm doing the right thing. Okay, so you can start sewing your straight line from any angle. And we are back to where we started. Okay, so what you are going to do now is to trim the excess tappeta. So what I mentioned earlier, that you could cut the exact shape of the tappeta and then cut extra Ankara, this is what it means. So in that case, if that is what you do, you'll be cutting away the excess Ankara if you use that other method. But if you are using this method, that you cut the exact shape you want on the Ankara, then you cut away the excess tappeta to match the Ankara. So let me do that now. So now you're not cutting the Ankara, you're cutting the excess gum stay and tappeta. Just follow this step by step and you'll be fine. You can see that the shape is coming out well, coming out already. Shape of our bag. Right? Now that I'm done trimming, you can see the final look that this has given us. So now your bag is looking solid already, right? This is looking okay. So the next step we're going to do is to cover the inside with lining. Okay, the lining we cut earlier, but because this is an advanced class and I need you to be perfect at every job you give out, for those that don't know already, I'll be teaching you how to make a zip inner closure. Okay, so for the back, for the lining, you're going to take cut about 12 to 13 inches of zip cloth. No, I didn't mention this at the beginning, and I told you I'll be introducing new materials we'll be needing. So this is not like new material, but you'll be cutting this for the inner pockets. Okay, so when you cut this, we are going to cut extra lining, which is measured, okay, so which is measured 14 inches by, this is, the length is 12 inches, so the full length will be 24 inches. When I mean full length, I mean like this. Okay, that means the full length will be 24 inches. All right, so the next step, i'm going to um I'm going to put this aside for now. We'll come back to this later. For the inner pocket, you are going to place the lining you've cut. Make sure it is placed at the middle, and when I say at the middle, whatever is on the left should be on the right. So this is 7 inches on the left, and this is 6 inches on the right. So you're going to adjust it so you end up with 6.5 on both sides. Okay, the lining is moving it's moving a lot, and the fan is not helping, but yes, I got that. So I'm going to use the pin, because of the movement, to restrict the movement, to hold it in place. Okay, good. So from the top, you're going to measure 5 inches. Now I want this to go down a little bit, to let's say about 6.5. Fair. 6.5 is fair. Now you're going to downwards. So we're going to be sewing 1 inch away from this edge, and then also 1 inch away from this side. Okay, so let's just okay, perfect. Okay, so this is what you have. So let me just remove the pin. So this is what you have, right? 1 inch from this C. Okay, and then you're going to sew just ½ inch down, away from where you measured before. So this is ½ inch. So the ½ inch is going to, I'm not just going to run through it because the machine is quite fast. So that's ½ inch, and then you turn it. Don't worry, I'm going to show you, give you a close shot once I'm done. Okay, then you're going to close by another ½ inch to meet the one, to meet this top line. Okay, so I'm going to bring it close to the camera now for you to see. So this is what I mean. You're going to sew 1 inch from the top, 1 inch from the side, and you also stop 1 inch this way. So make sure you stay consistent with the 1 inch from up when you're sewing straight, okay? And then the ½ inch space, you can see it, ½ inch, okay? Then you close it where you started, also ½ inch. Now it is sewn together with the bigger lining. It is sewn together with it. Let me turn it around. Right? The next thing we are going to do is to create a hole between this line. So we're going to be doing this by using scissors to cut, and I'll do that now. Or let me use blade, whichever one works for you, but I want you to see what I'm doing clearly. I hope you can see this. So you're going to start by cutting in between the stitches you've made, okay, in a straight line. So now you have an hole opened up, right? See, my hand can pass through it. You can see that I didn't cut to the end. This is where I'm going to take my scissors and then cut to the left without touching the stitches, and to the right also without touching the stitches. So you have something like this. So you do that to the other side too. So I'm just going to cut this closer, and then to the left and to the right. Okay, so now you have this opened up. You will turn your fabric inside out. Okay, turn it inside out, and you should look like this. So because this is lining, it is moving a lot. It's moving a lot, but it's fine. But this is what you should have after this procedure. Okay, so for the next step, you see this is the zip we're placing on it. You can see that we have extra left on both sides. Okay, so now I'm just going to turn this to the face, because this is the face of the lining. This is the front of the lining. These long parts will be at the back of the lining. So you fold everything in, and you should have this. Then you insert your zip inside. So because it is moving a lot, I'm going to be pinning this down. I don't want to start struggling with this lining. Okay, so I'm just going to pin it round. Okay, I think it has shaped. I can see what I want to see now. So, or what I want you to see. So the next step is just to sew the lining with the zip together, the same way we created that shape. Okay. You can also iron this. It will make your work so much neater. Okay. So at the end of this process, this is what you should get. Close, open, close. So now you turn to the back for the final step. You turn the other end of the lining upwards like this, and sew the 1 inch we left here. You sew this with it. Okay, so you sew like this, then continue sewing. You sew these two sides together, then we'll come back and sew this together, just to close, just to close the pocket. But it's still going to be like this. We are not sewing it to this is what we are sewing together. Okay, So for the other side, you're going to hold it together like this and sew. Okay. So now, we have our finished pockets. So you're going to open the zip and you see the lining. See my hand inside the pocket. So now we have the finished inner pocket. So before we attach the lining now to the bag, we have to attach the handles. We have to attach these handles to the bag. To close, to make the edge, the straps neat, you're going to fold in the edge like this, about ½ inch downwards. You're going to fold it in twice. This is ½ inch. And then you're going to fold it again and then sew a straight line to lock it in place. You're going to do it for only one side of this and only one side of the second one too. Okay, so let's just do that now. So I'm going to do that for the second side. Okay. Right. So this bag is all about measurements. I mean, every bag is all about measurements, but we have a lot of measurements embedded in this bag. So the next step is to sew this. Okay, so this is how it looks, and this is the outside. Okay, this is what we've sewn inside. At the end, you have to use lighter to knit the rough threads. Okay, you use lighter, just a little bit of fire to knit it, and use your hand to tap it down. That's when we are done. So I'm going to put this aside. So starting with this, we're going to measure 6.5 inches from the side. Okay, and then you're going to fold at least 1 inch upward, 1 inch. So let me just adjust this a little. 1 inch, and that's what you're going to place on the bag. Okay, so you measure 6.5. Now this is the side we didn't sew down, if you can notice. Please make sure you don't make mistakes. So 6.5 inches from the side and 3 inches from the top is where we are going to place the first strap. So let me confirm that again, 6.5. Good. The next step now is to sew a box like shape on the strap, sewing it to the main frame of the bag. And you see what I mean by box like. So we're going to keep turning it. Okay. We keep turning it to form that, to sew that box. And this is what we have. Okay, see it, and then to place it on the second side, so this part will be longer downwards. Okay, that is the design. If you want it to be the same, you won't sew the way we sew it. You would put it down 1 inch, place it down, and then sew in a box format. Then you have this. But this is not the design I want to create. Okay, if you check the bag I showed you at the beginning of the class, you'll see it has this design. So also 6.5 from the side, but this time we're going to be sewing, letting the length be 8 inches from the top. 8 inches, that is where your strap will get to. But when you want to sew, it has to be the same 3 inches from the top. So now you're going to, still holding the strap in place, you're going to measure 3 inches, and then we're going to sew the same box. Okay, so the 3 inches falls on this line, and now we're going to sew. Okay, so now we're going to keep turning it. Uh-oh, that is past 1 inch, so I'm just going to take it backwards. Okay, so we are back to, we had this side guided us, but this one you have to measure it to, damn it. So I'm just going to, trainers make mistakes too. So I'm just going to keep this in place and then continue sewing. Okay, so this might be quite a lot, but just keep at this. Okay, and now we're done with the first strap. We're going to turn the bag now. So let me just knit this edges. Okay, so before we turn the bag, we have to fix the D-rings. Remember the D-rings I showed you at the beginning of the class? We're going to cut a piece of fabric measured 2.5 inches by 8 inches. We're going to later cut it into 2. So you fold it into 2 like this, and then fold it like this, then sew it together. I don't know if you got that. The same way you folded this, but this time we're not going to fold it again. So by the time we are done sewing, we're going to insert it like this. Does that make sense? Okay. I'm kind of trusting you're saying yes.